What is up, guys? Welcome to the transparency. What's it? Saturday night. Yep, Saturday. Let's talk about Bryan Kohberger. Let's do it. Bryan Kohberger pimpin'. Welcome to the transparency. Thank you guys, members, subscribers, moderators. Thank you for being here. I got something special for you guys tonight. I have Hector, and I got this video made just for tonight. This is Elantra original. Let's check it out. Truth and Transparency, the University of Idaho, the Idaho4, the 4 murdered students. This is breaking news, December 8th, 2022. What is Moscow, Idaho hiding? What is the police department hiding? Take a look. I went to the Civic page and noticed that every day of the week they do their posting on the same day, except when you get to 11/12/2022. They don't post that until 11/14/2022. This would be before the murders, so why isn't 11/12/2022 posted on 11/12/2022? It doesn't get posted until 11/14/2022. What are they hiding? Why can't 11/12/2022 be posted on the same day? Remember that 11/11, there was a big fraternity formal on 11/11's night, so that once it becomes midnight, it becomes 11/12. What happened after midnight on 11/11? Go through the 11/12 reports. Do you think that there's anything missing? Was there something taken out and then this had to be then posted on 11/14? I think this is something that definitely needs to be answered as to why this was not posted on 11/12, like every other date. Why would this not be posted on the same day, like everything else? What was removed? Was something possibly removed from this date? And again, why wasn't it posted on the same day? When you go through this, what would seem suspicious enough that it would cause you to not only, you didn't post it on the 13th, probably because they were busy with, a quadruple homicide, but this gets posted on the 14th. What happened on 11/11 that night going into making it 11/12 that couldn't be in reports or couldn't be out there or needed to not be available? I don't know. I don't know why this of all the days would not be posted on the same date, just like everything else. Right there, you see it. We know a little bit more. We keep knowing more and more and more. You guys asked for more and more deep diving. Again, I put this video together December 8th, 2022. So it's been about over a year since I put this out. Thought I would come back to it to show you guys that. Take a look right here again. That Moose Lodge. This is why I went and got that body cam from Moose Lodge. Tonight's episode is sponsored by Jameson. If you're gonna be a baby, be a Jamie baby. Cheers, mates. Cheers. Also, let's take a look at the video that's surfacing right now is the body cam footage. The body cam footage that we can all see, 2:55 a.m. Well, the call went in at 3:01 a.m. And now remember, this was back before we realized that they had their undercover crew and that they call 911 themselves. And what's considered calling 911 yourselves is when you radio in. So that's where I say, wait a second, the body cam doesn't start until, or the body cam starts at 2:54 a.m., but yet the call didn't come until 3:01. So again, this is also just my way to say to a lot of people out there, like, hey, Lana, can you look into this for me? Can you look into that for me? I'm telling you, go check out every single episode I've ever done in the Idaho4 case, because the stuff that you want me to look into, I love you because it means you're using your brains, but I promise you I've covered it. And this is proof of me covering when everybody was talking about, I mean, I covered this December 8th of 2022 to say exactly about that time discrepancy of the 3:01 and the 2:54 with the body cam. This is the Banfield cam. So details, numbers, details. I got that covered. Also, the greatest thing about all these videos is now I know why Paramount wanted exclusive rights to every video that I've ever made on the Idaho4 case. And I said no, in my music and stuff like that. No, the answer is no. Or if you want it, it's going to be at a very, very, heavy price tag. It's because I literally have a documentary with all my material. And it's all time-stamped and it's in real time. It's all there. And there is stuff that is in my videos that you can't get anymore because it's been scrubbed from the internet. So, signing away my videos to be in a reality television show, just, I'm not 25 years old. Pass. Now, a true crime documentary that leads to innocent people being vindicated and things like that, I'm all about. Hit me up on that. And the reported call, that means when you call in and you report something, it says reported call at, and then here you're going to see reported call at time reported. Right here, you're going to see it. Time reported, 3:01. Well, how are you arriving in on body cam at 2:54, 2:55 a.m. if it hasn't even been reported yet until 3:01? How are you? Well, and we got to the bottom of that. The thing that nobody wants to talk about with the video of Banfield, the most important part of that video is literally the first minute, the first 30 seconds. And why it is so important is because it shows you literally where the police were at 2:54 to 2:52 a.m. to 2:54 a.m. And that is right next to the house that people dub as the murder house. That's where your undercovers are. And that's exactly at the same time that Kaylee and Maddie's phones never make another outgoing call again. 2:52. It's the same time that these dudes are up there, literally right by the house. So, yeah. So the most important part of that body cam is the first 30 seconds of Rosie's and then Tisdale. And it showed what you see in that body cam at the beginning is they're right by the house and their phones never make another outgoing call again. So now, what are we here for? Well, there beforehand. I'm here to talk about Bryan Kohberger's vehicle. Let's do it. I got some things I want to say about it. But before I do, I have, if you guys watched my episode last night, I'm basically tearing to shreds Boundary County, their investigation, ISP's investigation, Bonner County's investigation. Give a shout out to, I believe, a couple of those dispatchers should become, the detective team because they were on it. And I think they were told to shut up. But looked at some cell towers last night, showed you guys a bunch of things aren't adding up. There's numbers that are supposed to be there that aren't there. But I went one step further, and I got every patient that saw Dr. Drake on that day. And the way that Dr. Drake did his books, he just didn't do them, but he had an old school way. And I want you guys to see something right before we kick this off. Let's go like this. Share screen window. Boop. Share it. All right, look at that. On this line right here, there's a name written in there. And it's Eldora Gatchel. And it's by itself. It's just really light. There is no name that says Caleb Kakoa. There is no name that says new patient Caleb Kakoa. Eldora Gatchel said that they arrived at 6:03 and that they left around 7:15. You need to go back and listen to the interview that Eldora gave to the police. She said that she parked in the back and that when they left, she couldn't leave out right by the front of the building because this is Drake's building. This is where Dr. Drake would always park. This is the main street. She said she came in. She parked right next to the doctor. Her and her brother walk right in the back door, right through here, because his door is right here. It's like a quad suite. She says that they were there from 6:03, waited 10 minutes to get in because he had his other patient. Then that guy left. Parked when she arrived was only one vehicle right here, and it was a truck. Okay, a white truck. And she said that they were there from about 6:05 to 7:15. That she went in first and had her appointment with Dr. Drake, and that her brother had the second one at he began his appointment at around 6:42, 6:43. She said that she happened to be in the actual exam room when Jennifer Drake called at that 6:42 time, and that she overheard that conversation. Well, honey, Dr. Drake always puts down when he sees his patients. And see this money where it says $250 right there? That means that he made it to his book to write down that you're going to be paying $250 and you're going to use your card, and that prepays you for 5 visits. Under here, it would have said like anywhere else that he saw Caleb Kakoa. And anytime that Dr. Drake sees a new patient is a half hour to 45-minute ordeal because he's doing a new patient intake form. Well, Eldora Gatchel, you're a fucking liar, and I'm coming for that ass. You ain't even ready, girl, because I knew you were lying before. I just had to go through 463 pages, literally 463 pages to nail your tits to the wall, and I'm coming for that ass. Not only did you say that you parked right next to the dock and that you guys left at 7:15, you said that you walked out these doors and you got into your car, which was right next to him, that you backed your vehicle up like so, okay, and that you could have just made a straight shot to just go back to get to the back alleyway right here to get to this street because everybody does that. But instead, you said that you went to back up like this and that you then just decided to go straight like through here and go out this way around short or far north or whatever, and to come through here. Okay. Now I got a couple questions for that ass, Eldora. We have a drone, and I know for a fact that when you walk out these doors and you get in a vehicle that is right next to this vehicle, there is no way in fucking hell that you can see any cars that would have been parked up along here, as you stated to the officer, that you couldn't come out this way because there was a truck in your way. Well, sugar tits, when you did your little back up to straighten your car out, okay, what were you using your mirrors to check that all out that you couldn't squeeze through? More for that ass. Ready? None other than this house right here belongs to the so Dr. Drake, let me back this all up here. This is just unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. Take a look. So this is 95. Okay, runs. This is like parallel to basically 95 where they meet up right here. This is El Paso. This is 95. Well, would you believe it? Remember how I told you guys, take a look. We have a lovely sheriff that turns down and goes in what I thought was right here to just chill. No, he didn't have to do that because this guy, this is his fucking house. Motherfucker comes right here and he pulls into legit this is your Bobby Goads. This is his house, which has a clear view from the top floor, which is the second floor. It's a straight shot. When you come out, he has a top balcony on his bedroom. You stand up and you look out and you are dead nuts looking right at Drake's office. If that ain't enough for that ass, that where he came and he just came parking back here and just waiting so you could see exactly who's leaving, who's coming, and when they're going. If that wasn't enough, this is called the Bonner Ferry Glass and Door business. And right before the murder of Dr. Drake, none other than Bobby Goads, Mr. Robert Goad, works for the Sheriff's Department, Boundary County. His son goes by the same name in the 82nd Airborne Division, was over in Afghanistan, same time as possibly Brent Kopaka, but whatever. He gets a job working here, okay, and literally is only there for about 5 months right after Dr. Moore is arrested. He no longer works there. So we have the sheriff, or not the sheriff, but one of the deputies who works for the sheriff who was seen. In fact, I'll give you a clear picture of when he was seen. He was seen at the gas station right before the murder. Let's see. There he is. Okay. Isaac Funderburg's vehicle seen at the same time as they're all passing each other. Same with Jacob. Same with all the... Here we go. Look at that. There's the Subaru. So they're all at the same time making their little rounds, checking things out together. And then we see... There we go. 19:16:46 seconds. Did all this shit. And then that vehicle is then seen going right back and parking back in here and just chilling. Now, the best part about this view here is when you take a look at this, everybody can see right here, anybody that would be parked right along here and you're literally walking in these doors, Isaac Funderburg, his apartment is right over here. It is 100% motherfucking impossible for Isaac Funderburg to see through a building, okay, and to possibly be able to see what Caleb Kakoa Nazara was wearing. Totally impossible. Understand that you can't just look through a building and be able to see that. So if you get out of your vehicle to walk into the doors to go have your appointment, and you literally walk out the glass doors to then just get in your vehicle, okay, and to then just leave your appointment, how in the world would anybody see what the fuck this guy was wearing to a T? All black with a silver little fucking vestie, dark complected, looks like the guy that owns the Liberty gas station. And that was, I guess, Isaac Funderburg's nice way of saying that, you know, he was of, you know, I don't know. I think he didn't want to be, you know, racially profiling, to be honest. But this has all the indications of the way that Brandon Hurst was murdered. Brandon Hurst was lured to a vehicle that was allegedly not working. Okay. He was lured out to leave to go somewhere. Well, what I see right here now is I see Dr. Moore, Eldora Gatchel, and Caleb Kakoa walking out because he just walked them out because that was their last patients, okay? Or he was lured out, meaning they walk out and then, okay, now you go back in and act like we can't start our car, and to get Drake and see if he has jumper cables. Something like that. And that would be literally almost an identical way of Brandon Hurst's murder, which happens just after this, a couple months, over drugs and shit like that. And then in order to have he was shot through the window, that's the only time that when Caleb Kakoa would have came over here to shoot through the window to make it seem like that's how Dr. Drake was killed, would be the time that Isaac Funderburg could possibly see that. Like I said, coming for that ass. So you have a cop that works for the sheriff's department, literally buys this house, and boom, is over top floor watching everything going on at Drake's office and what's taking on behind the place. And then his son is working at the glass shop. Now, Bryan Kohberger, here we go. All right, 1 second here. Alrighty. Bryan Kohberger's VIN number. Let's talk about it. Why are we to talk about it? Well, because we want to see everything that is going down with Bryan Kohberger's vehicle. Everybody's saying out there, they could track Bryan Kohberger. We're following Bryan Kohberger. We got Bryan Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger was just stalking these people like it was 1987. Wow. Well, Bryan Kohberger's a fucking moron then, because I mean, I'm a stalker, so I'm going to tell you guys how to stalk. And that's the last thing I would do, is waste my fucking gas money to drive around stalking people. What a dipshit, right? But let's take a look at this vehicle. You guys can see it's the 2015 Elantra. And right here, the system, the pedestrian alerting sound for hybrid and EV only. Then we have the active safety system, keyless ignition. It's the remix to ignition. You know, R. Kelly song right there. Then we have the active safety system. Let's talk about the active safety system. Why, Lana? Because it's important. Because everybody out there is going to say, this is the way that Bryan Kohberger, and we know that he was where he was because of this. So let's take a look. The active safety system, the SAE. The active safety system, SAE. Level up. Oh, wait. Active safety system 911 notification when you crash. Automatic crash notification. Advanced automatic crash notification. We got a backup camera. How does the accident detection system work? Oh, this is how. What is that? A piezoelectric sensor? Piezo? Pi. We got to we'll first sense the occurrence of an accident and give its output to the microcontroller. The GPS detects the latitude and longitude position of a vehicle. The latitudes and longitude position of the vehicle is sent as message through the GSM. Okay. How does the accident detection system work? So there's a sensor that will first sense the occurrence of an accident. Okay, so I guess my question is was Bryan Kohberger in an accident? Was there an accident that I'm not aware of? Was there an accident? This is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. Was Bryan Kohberger in an accident that night? Now, I think I should make a phone call. Because I guess my issue is that this tells me that something has to click. Okay? Like, we have to set something off in order for this to then go and take its place, right? But maybe you guys can help me, because maybe I'm just not getting it. Maybe I'm the one that just doesn't understand it. But I don't believe that Bryan Kohberger got in a car accident that night. And so, are what we still saying is that even if he didn't get in a car accident, we have the ability, because the car has this in it, to tell you where he was? Well, then why is this car so fucking cheap? There's reasons that cars are expensive, and it's normally because of all the crap that you don't even realize that it does for you. But I'm going to go based off what Steve Monsalva said. Steve said that we are going to be from this case made aware of all the ways that we are basically being tracked, watched, you know. And this doesn't seem like one of the things. Because it seems like something has to happen in order for them. It's like OnStar, I have OnStar. I have to hit my OnStar, hey, I need whatever. So I'm going to go in and place a bet to say that I don't believe that this feature, unless you were in an accident at the moment that you ran out the house and into the car, if there was an accident, that it's going to, collect that data for you at that point in time, because that's how you would trip the sensor that then takes your latitude and longitude. Now, I call these people and I ask them over and over, let's see. If you make a 911 call, right? GPS, like, you should know where I'm calling from, right? And people are like, no, it just gives us your latitude and longitude. Okay, latitude and longitude, like, that's like, what do you mean? Like, what else could you want? That's GPS. What do you mean it doesn't give you where I'm at? Have you guys ever heard of Rapid SOS? I mean, look at these coordinates. So you have coordinates. So you would know 911 calls for me to hear people say, well, it just gives us a vicinity. It doesn't give us like your exact location. Okay. So I went ahead and I did some examples with this. And what it does is when I was doing it through these coordinates, with somebody was like using their Life 360 app, you're going to see that the person is moving, and the Find Me app with like your iPhone, when it still dies, it's still going to go off of the last location it was and where it's sitting and all that crap. And it's never been wrong for me, my iPhone. You guys ever do that? Just hit the thing that says Find My iPhone and see where it's at. I mean, when you see the picture of my house, it puts it in the left side of the house if I'm on the left side. It puts it on the right side of the house if I'm on the right side. Legit, when I'm bored, this is what I practice. I test things, right? I was so bored, I made myself Nicole Atkinson in an app and drove around and did what she said she did. And my fucking app looked completely different than her app when she showed it to the police. I made a friend of mine, her son, and then I switched the names. I made his name say Nikki instead of Nick. And it's like, well, then I can just turn that in and act like that's my data. We're all on the same plan. And if I just take screenshots, here you go. See, this is where I was. Well, no, that looks like I think that's your son's data, but it's so easy just to go in there and switch somebody's name of what you're calling yourself, right, on these apps. So, Bryan Kohberger allegedly shut off his phone, or his phone, which we're going to know if he shut it off or if it died and whatnot, at 2:44, right, according to the PCA. And then his phone comes on at 4:48, right? And can I just ask you guys something? Why the fuck would you turn your phone on? Do you think it was an accident that it came on? Do you think that the phone accidentally came on? Because why would he turn his phone on at 4:48? What would be the purpose of that? Why wouldn't he just leave it off? I mean, don't you think that it would look just a little suspicious that you would shut your phone off right before you go commit a murder, and then you would turn it on right when you got home. So that window, like, yeah, I'll leave the house, I'm gonna shut my phone off, but then I'm gonna when I get home, I'm gonna turn it right back on. Or in the middle of me driving, I'm gonna turn it on, which then shows me like 45 minutes away from my house. For somebody that's in cloud-based forensics, um, for somebody that's plotting and planning to commit, uh, whether it would be killing one person or killing 4 people, okay? Depending on people wanna say like, "Well, he ended up killing 3 people, that wasn't the plan." Before, if you're saying that this was premeditated and he had a plan, what was the plan then? Let's talk about that. What would be the plan? The plan is, okay, am I trying to get caught? Am I trying to not get caught? Am I trying to kill other people after this? Am I trying to become a serial killer? Uh, like, what's going on here? And for somebody that's educated, I would think that in this field that, like, you'd have to eventually think to yourself, okay, if I get questioned, because I'm trying to get away with this so I can go on and killing other people because I just love to kill people. Um, I just realized that I just gave up heroin and gave up all my other drugs, and then I went and got my PhD, and now I just want to start killing people. So that's what I'm gonna go do. Okay. So if he was ever to be questioned, was he always just gonna not talk to the police? What was he ever gonna say? Did he, what would you be saying? Wouldn't you think that you'd want to have like an alibi if you could? When I think about Jennifer Drake and how she arranged this little fucking shindig, I look at Bryan Kohberger, and it's like, here's a guy that literally is saying that he was out driving when it happened. Did he have to say that he was out driving? Did he say that off the rip? He was out driving. I always take night drives. I can't sleep. I have never been able to sleep, so I always go out driving. And I wasn't just driving for that time frame. I was driving since like 8 o'clock at night. Like, you guys only want to talk about my 244. Why aren't you guys talking about what I was doing all weekend? Why aren't you talking about what I did all month and what's my pattern of behavior? Right? That's what you would look at, right? To see like, okay, this guy's always driving. This guy's doing what? So you're talking about a guy that he's smart, he wants to try to get away with it. This isn't like a crime of passion where like, oh my God, I snapped. And then I tried to get out of it after it already happened. We're talking about somebody that they thought planned this so much that all these lives are in danger. You're in danger. Molly, you in danger, girl. That we have to put a protection order because we have no idea what's going to be in Bryan Kohberger's apartment, because they're going to have what it's going to look like is on, CSI, where you have a perp that has everybody's photos up there and the strings connecting it to everybody. And that's what we're going to walk into. And so we need to have this all be totally like, lives are at stake here. We need a protection order because police officers are in danger. And then they go in and it's sparse. There's nothing in there. There's nothing at the parents' house. There's nothing in that. There's nothing in his car. There's just all these nothing burgers. I don't know. Yeah. And let's think about this. How could Bryan Kohberger possibly know that it would be the perfect storm? You want to talk about who could be responsible for this crime? How would he know that Jack Showalter would wear a hoodie that night, would look so suspicious that he was stalking these girls, that he had when he was walking with them, then he decided to change his hat forward, not order anything at the grub truck, put his hat forward, his hoodie back up. Then the girls don't even talk to him. But then he runs after them, or not run after them, but runs off, just doesn't order anything. So you have that going on. Then you have a fight that breaks out at the Sigma Chi. Then you have Kaylee and her roommates. Something went on because Kaylee all abruptly moved out. Kaylee buys a new Range Rover. Kaylee decides she's going to Texas. Kaylee... Let's see what else. What other perfect storms are going on? A DoorDash would come at 4. Oh. All these houses have surveillance, so much so that all these, housing for the students, you have all these cameras. It's 2022. You have Ring surveillance like almost everywhere. You have the campus has so many cameras itself. Yeah. And that Bryan Kohberger would know to enter when all the roommates are there. Everybody is known to be there at 2, in the rooms by 4, and Bryan Kohberger would know all of that to be able to have everybody separated so that he would be able to take out everybody, and that not a single person uses their phones to call 911, not even so much the people that heard all of this bloody murder screaming. That all of those things would happen, and that somehow Bryan Kohberger would leave a sheath. It doesn't even have any of the victims' blood on it. But yet it's the bloodiest scene they've ever seen, and it just happens to be not detected by the body cams. I think that would have been said in the PCA. So let's see what else. The house would be owned by just the biggest perv in the world. That the president would happen to be, that's his childhood home. All these things, and that here, Bryan Kohberger did all this research and decided that this is the house that I'm going to commit a horrible crime, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to get away with it. And in that plan was to circle the house 4 times with his own vehicle to be seen on every camera possible, but then not really be seen on every camera possible, because then there's no evidence that surfaces with any, him or his license plate. Oh, it's because he didn't have his front plate. That's why. Okay, but guess what though? When we get this car, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be lit up. There's going to be all this blood, and there's going to be all this DNA in there. You cannot, you can't get around that. Well, what happens? We get the car. There's nothing in it. No signs of a cleanup. And yet here you have mainstream media that keeps on saying that Bryan Kohberger is so guilty. And I keep saying, what am I missing that you have that I don't have? Because you don't. If anything, I think I have more shit, but because I want it so that I can say he's guilty, because I want justice for these students. And right now I don't see that happening. But how did Bryan Kohberger get it so that nothing would be in his vehicle? But yet it was his vehicle that he used. No signs of a cleanup. Did he get completely fucking naked? That's what I said about O.J. Simpson. How did O.J. Simpson leave that crime scene, have blood all over him? Ron Goldman was a black belt. Ron Goldman walked upon it, okay? And so much blood. That how was there no blood on the bottom base of the Bronco? He didn't have time to clean up anything. O.J. Simpson would have had to get completely naked, right? And then the socks just so happened to be in the house, and they had blood on them, but they were inside out, so the blood actually should have been on the other side. I don't know if you guys even know that. But so he got naked, but then left his socks on. Okay. So going back to this car, how did you get this blood out of there? And so a lot of police officers that I talked to, they've said that people that usually get framed are people that have actually done it and they're just padding the stats. Meaning that they know that he's guilty and they need to just pump it up. Well, how would Bryan Kohberger even be on your radar? How would you be able to go through all of this, all of the digitals that you're going through? And this is where cops have said, I think some stuff's going to probably have to be exposed in this case to show truly how we track you. And that if you think that you don't even know what apps there are, you don't even know this, you don't know this. And so I guess that's going to bring me to my next question, which is, well, is it legal? Don't we have what's our expectation of privacy? Not in public, we don't, right? There's no such thing as privacy. I'm just curious. I'm like, so you're telling me there's stuff on my phone? Do I know it? Am I approving that this app is able to do this? Are push notifications the way that you're doing it? You guys know what push notifications do too, right? Every time you get like the text message that's notifying you of something, well, every time that happens, it's creating a timeline transaction on your phone, which is tracking you. So you should probably just, anytime it says, do you want push notifications, realize that if you're about to commit a crime and that at that moment, JC Penney's wants to tell you that boys' pants are half off, 50% off, because Jeffrey Epstein's in there. Well, that's going to like send off a notification in your phone that eventually could be found for a GPS coordinate, I guess. I don't realize that when it pops up on your phone and all it asks you is, do you want to have push notifications? It doesn't say, do you want to have push notifications? And do you know that push notifications are tracking you? So I don't know. Everybody knows that Google actually has like a health app on there too. But if your phone is turned off, does he have an iPhone? Because Find My Phone is still available, right? Remember that? If you do Find My iPhone, if you have that on your phone and you turn your phone off, just like if it's dead, it's still findable. So I would think if I was a betting person, I would go with the Find My iPhone. But that's saying that if he had an iPhone. I don't know if he had an iPhone. whose decision would it be that you're sitting around a table and you say, guys, we're going to IGG. Fuck everything that we do. We are going to go and give this to an independent lab through the FBI because we happen to find DNA on a sheath. You found what? I didn't see a sheath there. There's a sheath there? Where was there a sheath? Oh, yeah, ISP, when they were collecting the evidence. Oh, ISP found it. Now you have to attack ISP, right? Because that's the only thing, how you got to Bryan Kohberger, right? That name didn't come out of anywhere. It came from the sheath. It came from this hit. How did they have enough DNA on that sheath if it was touch DNA to possibly run it through CODIS? Because you don't run, I thought, touch DNA through CODIS, but to have enough then to then give it to a lab to do what it's doing. So touch, you mean, how is it? Do you understand why that's why Ann Taylor's asking how much there is and how much was used here and here and here and here and here? Because you would have thought that Bryan Kohberger like straight up spit all over the sheath for days and that there was just all this DNA. But I did talk to an officer and I said, how hard is it to plant? It's hard. These things aren't easy, to do. Well, just like DNA exonerated all these people, couldn't DNA fuck you and you still didn't do it though? Think about it. So DNA all this time has come around and has started to exonerate people, even people that gave false confessions, and people are like, how can you confess something you didn't do? And so now we have DNA now being used in a situation that it could possibly, because it's 2023, it's 2022. You have to trend with the times, You know how pissed Vegas was? You know how much money Vegas lost when they decided that referees could no longer just call the game themselves, but that they get to have challenges and that calls could be overturned and stuff like that. You know how much that totally changed the game in the world of betting, in the world of gambling. You want to fix a game, you go buy the referees, you don't buy players, you buy person. Get a holding call here, push them out of field goal range. He stepped out, and then you see the replay, and no, he didn't, and you're blowing claws on purpose. And I looked at Idaho to see how these people were trained, to see how these people were getting paid, and to see who they're taking in for these positions that are investigative detectives. And I think that our police, our teachers, these should be some of the most highest paying jobs because they're so important, right? But yet we're paying people fucking so poorly. Again, in my opinion, in such crucial positions that have so much influence and truly power. Why? Well, you get what you pay for in life, folks. And so if we're not going to pay our police, we're going to get fucking dipshits, because I'm going to go risk my life every single day for $52,000 a year. No. Teachers now, they're getting fucking shot at. They're in positions that we would never in a million thousand years say that they would be in with what people are doing. And And teachers, most underpaid position I think that there is. And everyone says, "Oh, well, they get the summers off." It's not that much time. It's 6 weeks basically. What, 8 weeks? What do you get? June, July, and these kids are going back to school in the middle of August. So 8, 10 weeks. But they don't get that whole time. They only have days from 8 to 2. They have to grade the papers. They have to deal with all of our parental bullshit when we're arguing with them why our kids getting detention. No. Pay the cops, pay the teachers, start changing the world that way. I think that would really, really help. Because otherwise, you're going to get fucking idiots. You're going to get shitbags that are in those roles that shouldn't be in those roles. And they're not getting paid. And they're going to go get the money elsewhere, which means corruption. A corrupt cop, either you're corrupt or you're inept when you make a mistake, in my opinion. Either you weren't prepared or you weren't trained or you're just an ass clown and you did it on purpose, right? Think about all the mistakes you make when you go to work, right? Well, I've just never met anybody in my whole entire life, though, like a cop, people that do make mistakes. No cop is ever going to be like, "Oh my God, let me look at that. Wait a second. No, that's not right." Or, "Holy shit, now we have this different evidence here. This person didn't fucking do this. Look at this." When have you ever seen a cop push for a wrongfully accused or convicted person based on new evidence? When have you ever seen that? Let me tell you why you've never seen that. Because you're hiring the wrong people in those positions. If somebody brings a mistake to your attention and you're in customer service at Kohl's, what happens? You don't tell them to get the fuck out of your store. Peace. No, you do what? Here you go. Here's a new set. Here's new clothes. Here's this. But here we bring mistakes to a police officer with a case that they did. They're not even going to give you the time of day to listen to you. But if somebody brought that, I mean, why would a police officer ever want somebody that didn't do something to be where they're not supposed to be? So it's just never made sense to me why the prosecution and the defense aren't working more closely together, because you guys are all in this merry-go-round. You guys are both lawyers. You guys are both in the same, industry. And at one point you may have been a prosecutor, but down the road you become a criminal defense attorney, you start your own firm. Shouldn't the goal be to get justice? Aren't you working for the criminal justice system? And that's why there's plea deals, in my opinion. It's for the people that are guilty out there, and we don't know if we can get them, but hey, come on, we cannot just let this person go. So let's do something. And but then you have the back scratchers, which is you take cases and you're like, "Here, you owe me a favor. You got to do this because I did one for you." But what's going on in Idaho is there are so many different things that were going on with that campus that were so wrong, and it's just been so out of control, and so many people owing so many people favors, and so many people doing things and putting things under the rug, that it comes to a time that like this, and everybody's looking around with their fucking pants around their ankles, like, what the fuck? What? We got this huge national spotlight on us right now. Why? Well, because this has gotten so out of control. So you're telling me that Bryan Kohberger knew to travel across the United States of America, go to school over there in Pullman, because that place is just a wreck, and you're going to be able to, what is it? Oh, go fulfill your dream of just becoming a serial killer, because they're just it's out of control over there. They're so inept. They don't do shit right, but yet So he goes there, and then here Bryan Kohberger gets snatched up, which I will say it. Whoever did this crime, in my opinion, shouldn't be caught right now because there is no evidence. I don't believe that PCA should be arresting anybody. Okay. With what I see, I don't see anybody that committed 4 homicides. And then you get to, and you talk about 9/11 and how that all happened and what ended up changing because that happened. So you look at this case and you say to yourself, whoa, what's going to come from this case? What's going to change? What's going to come from this? And if you don't think that political movements don't happen and people are quote unquote collateral damage, then you're fucking just living in some other fantasy world, because that's exactly what happens and has happened. And that's history repeating itself. Take a look back. History repeats itself in different ways, but these independent labs, your DNA just being wherever, you're doing this genealogy stuff, and the next thing you know, this now is how they solved this case, just like that. But there's no other evidence tying Bryan Kohberger to it. That's supposed to be the last thing that you're supposed to go to, and it was the first thing that they went to. Why? The prosecutor has to sign off on that. Why would the prosecutor sign off on that? Why would the prosecutor be like, wait, we're going to use why? We haven't even gotten anything back. We haven't even put in our search warrants. We haven't even looked at anything. And you want us to go to investigative genealogy that you want from this sheet to do what and where? And the FBI is just going to take over. And that's not how that works. Why is the FBI walking around with Bryan Kohberger, or anybody's DNA for that matter, and taking stuff to private labs? And you think then when Ann Taylor asks for it, she doesn't get it? Let me ask you, if you were in Bryan Kohberger's shoes and someone said, you're fighting for the rest of your life, you're about to be killed, and you want to be able to go to trial, right? Oh, but you can't have this and you can't have that. You can't know how we did this. You can't. Wait, what? You think that that's fair? I think that the prosecution looks like a bunch of fucking morons for even arguing it. If you have nothing to hide and you did it all right, who cares if you used it sooner? Say times have changed. Maybe we should change the way that this shouldn't just be a last minute measure. But by saying, no, you're not privy to any of that, why? Why wouldn't you be privy to that? Explain to me how somebody wouldn't be privy to how you investigated, that's called discovery, a case, to then say that I'm this perpetrator and that I did all this, and that guess what? You're going to kill me because of it, right? Because it's the death penalty. But we don't have to tell you and show you anything about that. Well, then guess what? You can't fucking use it, which means then you could have never gotten my DNA in the first place, because you would have never got to me. Without using IGG, you don't get the name Bryan Kohberger, so therefore you can't use it. So show me where in your investigative material, besides using IGG, that you came across Bryan Kohberger, and that's what the fuck you can use. Everything else should be suppressed, and if Ann Taylor can't win that, then we have a problem with this country. Understand that? Everything, what has come from IGG's out. Think about that. Well, then, so what's out? Well, the jury's not going to hear anything to do with that, including that my DNA was ever a match to fucking anything, because I don't know how you ever obtained my DNA to compare it to my actual DNA, because you're not telling me that. Oh, but we're not going to use that in court. I don't give a fuck if you're using it in court. I want to know how you got my fucking DNA. Do you understand me? How did you get my DNA? Because I'm telling you I wasn't there. So how'd you get it? How did you get it so that you could plant it? That's how I would be arguing that. And that's what they're doing. So explain to me how you have my name on some board with all these other people and how you're like, it's this person. Because what else, what other avenues? Because every avenue that you would go on, it's my name's not going to be there because my name, wasn't peeking on the tower. I wasn't following any of these people on social media. I didn't have them in class. I don't know them. I never hung out with them. So either Idaho made a huge mistake and a killer's going to go free and justice will never happen, or this stuff doesn't get suppressed and somebody's rights, in my opinion, are violated. That's what we're looking at, in my opinion. I don't know how else you could possibly look at this and say that and you want me to believe kids that have been lying to you guys on every body cam that I have, that now they just came clean immediately when they talked to you guys the first time? You want me to believe that? I'm not going to believe anything like that. These kids lied over a fucking noise complaint. What do you think they're going to lie about when there's 4 dead bodies? Yeah, nothing but love for my boy Shal Jeter Jr., baby. So anybody that says I'm pro Bryan Kohberger is crazy. No. Insert anybody's name there. Insert my own name there. Insert your name there. We live in a world that you're innocent until proven guilty. Prove to me that this man did it. Where's your evidence? And how did you get there? Because that's what you have to show in court. So how are you going to be able that someone's going to take the stand? Okay. Officer Payne. Yeah. Oh my God. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. Yep. So then what'd you do? Well, we had 120 people. So I just started assigning them to their different jobs. I noticed that none of these reports were turned into you until after the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. So when did you view these reports? You know, who did you work closely with? I see it on this white Hyundai Elantra. You guys totally got the wrong year. You know, yeah, we did. Well, I didn't get the wrong year. That expert from the FBI did. Okay, so could he have gotten the DNA? Did they maybe contaminate the DNA in any type of way? You think because they make mistakes? Did you see the sheath when you were there? No. Oh, I thought you said you saw it from the door. That's just where it was. I was explaining where it was, but I didn't. So your body cam picked it up? No, my body cam didn't get it. Did anybody's body cam pick up that sheath? No. Why'd you say that Dylan was on the first floor and that her other roommate, they were both on the first floor and they went to bed? Did they tell you that or did you just make that up? Why did you make that up? Well, because we thought that they would be in danger if we said that there was a witness. So you think that somebody that stalked them for 12 weeks did not know that 6 people lived there? And that he only killed 4? You think he doesn't know that 2 other fucking people were there? Explain that to me. You don't think that he knows where people's bedrooms are? He's been there how many times? He stalked them and would have known what bedrooms are where and who and how and why. He would know that there were survivors, right? He would know that 6 people lived there, not 4. So you were protecting them? Well, from being witnesses to saying that he saw them. Why? Because you thought he was just going to go over there and kill them? So they were there in witness protection? This is just going to be a pure and utter shit show, in my opinion, because you can't answer any of these questions. You can't answer the question of, let's see. Were you able to see the DoorDash? What kind of car did the DoorDash have? Did the DoorDash come forward? Did you have to go talk to them? Have you ever talked to Xana before? Why would you put in the PCA and offer up that a voice that Dylan would have heard over and over and over every single fucking day? You said that or that could have been Xana. That's just pure conjecture. But that just, you went with that because it fits your narrative because Kaylee was killed first and she couldn't still be alive. Is that how that? Why would you change what the witness said to you and whose voice she heard? Why does it change? Why would it matter so much that you would have to say, or it could have been Xana? And that's what you left out of the PCA. And we're going to find out once this goes to court on why Payne was so heavily about saying that, or that could have been Xana. There's a very, very, very strong reason for that. How much alcohol did you guys do toxicology? How fucking lit up were these people? Pretty hammered, right? So an eyewitness, what she said she saw. Did she come forward with that right away? Nope. And then I noticed that you didn't use Bethany at all in the PCA. So everything that she had to say was just, it was useless. Yeah, she just didn't see anything. She was downstairs the whole time. So who said that everybody came home by 2 and they were in their rooms by 4? Who gave you that information that would have seen that everybody was in their rooms by 4? Because wouldn't that person know that Kaylee and Maddie were then in the same room? Or did that person know that they were in actually opposite rooms? Who was the person that would have said that everybody was home by 2 and in their room by 4? Because Maddie and Kaylee were in the same room. So which one of those people came forward? Who else slept at that house and who else was inside that house? Because I guess there was you guys kept another car inside that tape. Why'd you keep that car inside the tape? Why'd you put the tape outside that car, I should say? Because what I noticed is that your police vehicles got there after, and so did the brother and the sister, right, of Ethan. They got there after. So why couldn't their car just leave too, and just like your police vehicles left? Did you not believe them? I noticed that you didn't need the DNA to get the search warrant for Bryan Kohberger's car or apartment. So why didn't you just go and get his car or apartment a hell of a lot earlier? Just to see how it would play out before you can go get search warrants before you actually arrest people. You don't have to arrest them. So at the same time, you decided to get a search warrant for his parents' home, his car, and his apartment, as well as then himself, but only for himself, for his arrest of him, did you use the DNA. Isn't it true that you had to do that because you attempted to get it without it and the magistrate would not sign off on that? That therefore then you needed the DNA? How many times did you attempt to get the arrest of Bryan Kohberger and you needed to have that DNA part in there? Isn't that true? That's why you put it in there? Because I noticed that it wasn't in any of the other ones, and they were submitted literally just minutes apart. So why did you change that one? Why was that one different? Because in order to arrest him, you needed that, didn't you? That's true. Facts. Absolutely facts. So Officer Payne, you're a detective now, or were you a detective when you took over this case? No, I'm a patrol carman. I'm just a patrolman. Okay. So you've been there for 2 years and they said, hey, you can lead this investigation. So what experience do you have? Okay. And so when you came across the fact that, let's see, Kaylee and Maddie's phones never were used again after 252, did you ever think to yourself that could quite possibly be because they were no longer living? Were Kaylee and Maddie's light on? Was Xana's light on? Was the living room light on? Was the kitchen room light on? When your officers arrived in that house, did they move any of the light switches? What lights were on and what lights were off based on when your police first responders arrived? Did you guys take pictures of and see where if the lights were turned off or on? And were both neon lights on in the living room and then upstairs? Boom. They're just going to and where were their cell phones located? Where was every victim's cell phone located? How many phone calls did how many phone calls did Kaylee make to other people other than Jack D that night? How many phone calls did Maddie make to anybody else other than Jack D that night? Isn't it possible that Kaylee used Maddie's phone to make both calls from both phones? And that Maddie was sleeping? Is it possible? You don't know that, right? It could be possible, right? Did you ask the roommates why Kaylee moved out? Did you ask the roommates where Kaylee and Maddie slept on Friday night? Were they both in the same bedroom? Did you ask the landlord if anybody was behind in rent? If any of the bills weren't paid? Did Jack Showalter give up his DNA? Is that how you ruled him out? Jack Showalter. You guys were adamant about making it publicly known that Jack Showalter had nothing to do with this crime and felt so strongly that you told your chief to go ahead and announce that to the world that hoodie guy was not involved. Why did you feel the need to do that? Nobody does that. Did he give his DNA in order for you to clear him? So you cleared him because his DNA wasn't on the sheath? Because it didn't match? When did you get his DNA? Did he just give it up voluntarily? Did he talk to you guys with a lawyer? Have you ever interviewed him? Did you think it was odd that Jack Showalter did not buy any food at the grub truck? I think it was odd that the girls ran away from him. Did he look angry when he ran away? Like, what the fuck? He throws up his hands, like, what the hell? And he runs away. You think he was cool with it? Where did he say he went after that? Did you track his car? Did you follow his whereabouts with his cell? Did you locate him on the towers? Did Jack Showalter tell you any lies when you were interviewing him? Did any of these people that you interviewed that go to the University of Idaho and that were involved with fraternities or sororities ever say the name Bryan Kohberger to you? No. Woo! These comments are just flying, Lana. Slow them down. Let's see. I'll slow them down. We're just letting people just write whatever they want. Slow mode activated. Let's see what else. There you go. How else would I hammer these motherfucking liars? Were Kaylee, Maddie, or any of the other victims on any of Bryan Kohberger's devices? Any digital connection? No. Was he following them on social media? Were you able to look through any of his past locations and see where he was hanging out? And did any of his locations and where he was hanging out ever, overlap, and that he happened to be at the same place, as in a physical location, like a bar, a restaurant? Isn't it true that you guys take ride-alongs? Yes. Isn't it true that there's a video surfacing where you guys have a ride-along that you had? Was it protocol to have the ride-along where he was located with you and sharing certain information with ride-alongs? Is that protocol? Just wanted to get that in there. Where was the were you able to determine if I noticed that you guys did a search warrant for the DoorDash? I noticed that you did it on the house and not specifically Xana's. You went for the house to see, you gave the location of the house, and your search warrant is all the way back to January of 2022. What was the reason for that? You wanted to see all the people that delivered there? Okay. Was Bryan Kohberger one of them? No. Okay. Do you have any eyewitnesses that have ever hung out with Bryan Kohberger at the 1122 King Road house? Did you interview Emma Bailey or Demetrius Robinson in this case about any drugs? Did anybody come forward on the tip line to say that anybody at the 1122 King Road house was selling drugs out of that house? People came forward and said that Kaylee was being stalked. Who were those people? Did any of those people say the name Bryan Kohberger? What names did they give up to say who Kaylee's stalker? I mean, you did all this investigating and you said that Kaylee didn't have a stalker. And that was before you arrested my client. Isn't that true? Yes. So were you lying to the public, or are you lying to the public now? So did Kaylee have a stalker? You said that Kaylee didn't have one, that you guys went through all of this stuff. And I believe it was Kaylee's parents that told the world too, that Kaylee would have told us if she had a stalker. Kaylee is very, aware of her surroundings. But yet, in the PCA, you said this guy has been stalking them. Where's the evidence of being stalked if before there wasn't? Is it because it wasn't Kaylee and it was somebody else, like Maddie? Was that the person that was being stalked? I heard that Bryan Kohberger went to a pool party and he asked for 2 phone numbers from girls with complex tattoos. Did you interview those women? Could they tell if Bryan Kohberger had an iPhone or an Android? Do they recall? Incel my ass. You guys, come on now. Were the bedroom doors closed or opened when you arrived? When your first responders arrived? Did you have Murphy forensically examined by anybody or by ISP? Did they do? Did ISP take pictures of Murphy? Did ISP look at the dog? Did anybody look at the dog to gather anything from the dog? And what room was the dog located in? Now, did you ever ask the roommates where the dog was? Because obviously the dog could be in a different location when you guys arrived versus when, the event was going on. Is it normal for you guys to take pictures of IDs of students for noise complaints? Well, I have all of these instances where, let's see, Rosie. Here's all these body cams. There's only one body cam where you actually take a picture of someone's ID. And this girl would end up being murdered. Did you give anybody that ID? Did anybody ask you for that ID? Did you turn over your phone in the investigation as part of discovery? What did you do with the picture? What was the purpose for taking the picture? So you guys were called out to 1122 King Road House a couple different times just before the murders. And on one of the occasions, you guys could not locate anybody that actually lived there. Isn't that correct? Okay. Is it protocol to, I mean, you knew that there was underage drinking. You put together a team for the purpose of underage drinking and to stop that, right? And here you have underage people at a house party without the owners there. And that's why you have this task force together for that purpose. And nobody thought to break up the party. In fact, you guys had to go back there. It was like at 8 o'clock you went, and then you went back there just after midnight. Okay. Is that protocol when you go to a house and you don't talk to the owners? You just talk to somebody on the phone. For all you know, it could have been just anybody saying that they were the person that lived there, right? And then when you went back there that second time, why didn't Officer Payne, why didn't you click that you were in your vehicle? Why didn't you click when you arrived and when you left? If you look at the report, the reason that we knew that you were there is because somebody else put your name on the report. You never used your vehicle to go over the radio at all to say that you were going there. Is that protocol? You've been there for 2 years and you're going to just run a homicide, quad hom. Okay. Yeah. Sounds about right. Did you offer any immunity to Bethany or Dylan? Did you threaten any of those girls? Did anybody make threats to those girls? Then why does Bethany think that she's going to get arrested if she comes back to Idaho from Nevada? Why would she be afraid that she's going to be arrested? She's a victim. Isn't it true the reason that none of those girls had what you would call protective, they would have security, or I guess you'd say protective witness program, is because they in fact were not witnesses. They didn't see anything, and that's why you didn't protect them. Otherwise, if they would have been and saw anything, you said that they would have been in danger, but yet you didn't put them in the witness protection program. On Linda Lane, I'm sure you got that video, right? You hear all those screaming. Let's see what else. Your first responding officer said that there was so much, you could smell iron. It was just so heavy. It was so heavy. And it was just over. I mean, it was very noticeable. So, how could two witnesses not only they didn't hear anything enough to call the police, but yet they didn't smell it either when they woke up in the morning? How about this one? Isn't it true that they didn't call 911 the night in the middle of the night, right? No. And all these hours go by. And yet still, they still weren't the ones to call 911 when it happened. So technically, your witnesses never called 911 at any point when they had the opportunity to call. They still didn't call. They called friends over, and those people used a roommate's phone to call. Were there any signs of a cleanup? Any blood trail? You have the spatter. Did you notice that? Did you find any blood outside the house? When Dylan said she saw the man in the mask with the bushy eyebrows, did she ever say that he had a knife? And isn't it, in fact, that Dylan said that it's normal for people to be there and people wear masks all the time because of COVID? They still wear masks. Was it a ski mask or was it like a surgical mask? And did Dylan say she screamed out or not to say shut the fuck up to people? And you don't think that the killer would have heard that to the point of, oh, let me just continue on my way? Isn't it true that they gave you multiple stories and you had to go with the one that was, I mean, they're drunk. They're using drugs. They're drunk. They didn't really know what was going on, did they? But yet they knew that everybody was home by 2 and everybody was in their rooms by 4, and that this took place after that time. But yet still in all of this investigating, the only thing that brought you to Bryan Kohberger was the IgG. Isn't that correct? Was there any semen located in the house? Unknown semen. So you have 6 girls, 5 girls living there. They have a bunch of friends over. And you're telling me that people aren't hooking up in that house and there's no semen in that house? Because I think you're fucking lying. But I think there's going to be some semen in that house. Who'd the semen belong to? I want to know who the semen belonged to. And now we have 2 or 3 unknown DNAs still in the house that you guys have never matched. Why didn't you use IgG with that DNA? It just wasn't important. You didn't think that this could have possibly been done by more than one person? 4 people in and out in just minutes. Nobody calls 911. They have their phones on them all the time. And this could have happened so quickly isn't it true that Xana's fingers were almost severed off because she was fighting off the knife, but she wasn't screaming? And that's normal in that house. People just scream like that. There was no party anymore. People were home by 2 and in their beds. Everybody was in their beds by 4. So whoever said that knew that it was no more Partyville. So if it's no more Partyville, those type of screams aren't screams that are like laughy, like ha 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 ha, like having a good time. Those are like frightening screams. Like, you know, a difference between a frightening scream and like a party scream. And isn't it true that Enan Harsh said that he saw a black SUV? Did you guys ever interview him? No. And that he heard screams at 3 a.m. Isn't that correct? Consistent with the 252 girls never texting or calling again. Right. Let's see. Now it says you pulled over Bryan Kohberger a couple different times, but you didn't cite him. He never got any tickets. Is that normal for you guys just to like pull people over? Or did you find things in Bryan Kohberger's vehicle and instead of getting him in trouble, you turned him CI for some reason and had him do shit for you during those 2 pullovers? Especially the one that was in Moscow or just outside of Moscow. I think it would have been, what was the road? Over there by Walmart. You guys probably have to make all these quotas. Like, so I'm just surprised that you wouldn't slap somebody that's out of state with a ticket. Instead, you just let them go. Why hasn't the body cam of him in Moscow surfaced, but the one where in Pullman surfaced? Why is that one so forbidden? Isn't it true that Bryan was in your guys' programs with law enforcement and worked with law enforcement in some capacity? And he had access to the lab. And if he was working in those labs and doing his work, that you could obtain his DNA from that lab because he always worked there. Did any of his classes require him to ever show any weapons or did he ever examine anything in the lab that would require him to touch any exhibits, weapons? Oh, I noticed that in the PCA, you picked out a car on, what was it? The 700 block of Indian, what was it? Hills Trail, something like that. Isn't that just located right by the police department? Okay. Were you able to track this car from anywhere back further? So this is just a vehicle that you found on this random road at this random time. And how did you find that? And now you're saying that this is suspect vehicle 1, but yet you can't trace it back to the suspect vehicle seen allegedly leaving campus, right? Okay. And how many white Honda Elantras are located on campus? And how many are on the other campus? Okay. So there's no identifying marks in this car? Nope. So you don't see Bryan Kohberger on any camera? Nope. Oh, when the guys from Washington found his car on the 29th, isn't it true that you already had the IGG information back, and so you already knew what he drove and how you could find it, and but you hid that. You don't talk about the IGG process at all in the probable cause affidavit. You don't talk about it at all. So when you ask these guys to be on the lookout for the white Hyundai Elantra, they wouldn't know which one you were talking about. They would just be looking out for anyone, right? So I'm sure that they gave you a list then, right, of all the ones that they came across. Where's that list? Did you talk to all of these people? Did you call them? Did you rule them out? Those two guys just didn't come across that one vehicle in a matter of a 20-minute span. They would have been inquiring through using a computer keyboard to query anybody that had a student pass, right? That had that car written down, and then that's how you look that stuff up. And then you could even use the DMV, right, in some capacities. So they would have given you a list. So why would anybody drive around looking for a vehicle when they would just print out the list? Here's all the lists of this. They would do that first and then start making their rounds to go to the different addresses. Isn't that how you would do that? I don't know who works backwards. except Idaho. But I would just go in, get the list of anybody that has a white Hyundai Elantra that is has it registered for a parking pass on campus, right? And then off of that, I'm going to start with the guys versus the girls, right? Because you guys are looking for a male, allegedly, because of your witness statement. And then you have this specific, like, 2011 to 13. So I'd be looking for those, right? And then I would have notes of what time I went and, found this one, or what do they do? Just take a picture of it. Because the question is I don't need anybody to go finding me one and go searching for it. I just need the list. And then from there, I just need to look up the people, right? Think about it. I don't need you to go find me this white Hyundai Elantra. I just need the list of all the white Hyundai Elantras. Make sense? I don't need you to go driving around finding anything, because what are you going to do when you find it? You're going to be like, oh, I found it. It's over here. Okay, then what would you do next? What's the next play? You're going to just go up to it and look inside of it and see if you can spot some blood? That's not how that would work at all. So why these two freaking frack people would ever be working in that type of manner, which you wouldn't, that doesn't make any sense. Hey, be on the lookout for these. Okay, be on the lookout, and then do what with it? What do you want me to do? Tell you I found it? Tell me where I found it? That doesn't make any sense. Not with those ones. If people are just out driving on the street and you come across one, yes. But if I'm just going to be handing you over and telling you where these people's cars are, I would just hand you the list that has the address of the car, where it's registered, and where the person lives. Like, I don't need these two dudes that are campus police officers driving around looking for white Elantras. To do what with it then when you find it? Oh, hey, I found this one over here on this street. I found one over there on this street. Okay. You don't need to do any of that. You just press print in the query and you print it all out, and then you would just look at the list and see the names, and then start like Googling these names, start looking up these names on social media in the capacity of getting some intel on all the names. Who are these people? What do these people look like? Right? So driving around, as they would claim happened, is just more of the I found this is how I know you're fucking lying. Because that's not what would happen. I don't need to go looking for a fucking car that I know is already there, because I have this list and it tells me these are the people that own white Elantras. And if you're going to tell me that the reason I want you to do this, I want you to still see if they have the white Elantra, see if they changed vehicles, to see if it's not there anymore. Maybe they got rid of, but there would be a purpose for it. And what the purpose was, it wasn't for what they needed to have a reason that it wasn't the FBI. It's just a cover for the IGG. This was their way of covering for the IGG. We need Bryan Kohberger to be brought to us a different way, because we can't use this IGG. They don't even talk about that they even did investigative genealogy. In the PCA, they don't even talk about it, because they were going to try to get around it ever even fucking existing. So you got to go get these fucking idiots, these little cops that are just going to, okay, sure. Okay, what do you want us to do now? Okay. You want us to go walk around and try to find some fucking white Honda on that? Okay, sounds great. If I was a cop and somebody asked me to do that, I go talk to the campus, if it's compliance, wherever it is. Hey, where can I find all the registered cars with passes? Oh, okay, yeah, here we go. What are you looking for? Can you just go over and look in the category section for Elantras to see? Okay, great. Can you print that for me? Okay, great. Thank you. Email it over to Payne and say, here's a fucking list. Here you go. Here's all your white Hyundai Elantras or just Elantras. And then obviously here's the white ones. Okay, can you break it down to this? Here, I put them in here. Here's your females. Here's your males. I would suggest start with the males, but I would never get in a car at 12:30 in the middle of the night and driving around looking for them to do what with them, to say what about them. Oh, I found them. Well, no shit, motherfucker, you found them. You can find them as easily as going and printing them off and saying, here they are. What would you like me to do with it? Just think about that. Think about somebody saying, when you put a be out on a lookout for something, it's when your people are driving. Okay. Be on the lookout when, if you happen to see we're looking for a white Hyundai Elantra between this year and this year, right? If you come across it, run the plates, see what's up. This is somebody that left the scene. Okay. Hey, be on the lookout. Go on campus, walk around with your fucking little flashlights and go find me some white Hyundai Elantras. Okay. Okay. Hey, and then when I find them, I'm going to run the plate and tell you who they belong to. Why the fuck would I do it that way? I would never do it that way. I would say, no, I'm just going to go to the campus, give me the report. Here's all the people that have parking passes. Okay. There you go. Now, would you like me to research these fucking people? But this is going to be the best part. When Payne or whoever else has to be asked this question is, what did you do with all the names that you got? You only researched one person, Bryan Kohberger? Guilty. Right there. So you didn't investigate. Here's the list. What did you do with it? We did nothing with it. Well, aren't you looking for a white Hyundai Elantra that was leaving the scene? What do you mean did nothing with it? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I came across the one that I emailed. That's the only one that you emailed? Yeah. Wait, what? You only emailed Payne with one hit. Yeah, of course. You guys hear this when this will come out in court? Excuse me? You didn't send him any other, just the one? How many were there? Well, 150. Oh, and you just happen to find Bryan Kohberger's. Wow. Who is on the sheet that they don't know about. This guy doesn't know. This little rent-a-cop doesn't even know that because they didn't give out that. So he just happens to find the same car that the sheath belongs to. Okay, sounds good. That's enough about me blowing up this narrative. I'm gonna go to bed. I want more of the information. You want to know why? Because it's lies. I want to read more lies. Okay. I want to read half-ass PCAs. You know what should be in that PCA that's not in that PCA? They should be mentioning how they used IgG. Why? Is it illegal to use IgG? No, it's an investigative tool. But they couldn't even mention it, y'all. Why? Go read that PCA again. It's all chopped up. Ridic. Go back to right here, right this. Look at this suicide right here. And notice, look at that. Every day of the week, they do their posting on the same day, except when you get to 11/12/2022. They don't post that until 11/14/2022. This would be before the murders. So why isn't 11/12/2022 posted on 11/12/2022? It doesn't get posted until 11/14/2022. What are they hiding? Why can't 11/12/2022 be posted on the same day? Remember that 11/11, there was a big fraternity formal on 11/11's night, so that once it becomes midnight, it becomes 11/12. What happened after midnight on 11/11? Go through the 11/12 reports. Do you think that there's anything missing? Was there something taken out And then this had to be then posted on 11/14. I think this is something that definitely needs to be answered as to why this was not posted on 11/12, like every other date.
Look at that. Narcotics canine search, West 6th Street.
Why would this not be posted on the same day? Like everything else. What was removed was some.
Look at that. Accident hit and run. Corner club. Reporting their right back taillight has been smashed. Happened sometime last night. No info was left by suspect.
Something possibly removed from this date. And again, why wasn't it posted on the same day? When you go through this, what would seem suspicious enough that it would cause you to not only, I mean, you didn't post it on the 13th, probably because they were busy with, a quadruple homicide, but this gets posted on the 14th.
What time was that? Why did the state take the report? Look at that right there. Reporting party reporting a 2-vehicle accident. Officer responded. State accident report taken.
Busy with, a quadruple homicide, but this gets posted on the 14th. What happened?
Everybody's just hitting fucking cars over there, man.
On 11/11 that night, going into making it 11/12, that couldn't be in reports or couldn't be out there or needed to not be available.
Pullman Road Walmart. 2 shoplifters in custody. Both are cooperative. Man, you caught me stealing. Civil calls.
I don't know why this of all the days would not be posted on the same date, just like everything else. And then,
look at this. Somebody calls in a dog barking. But you don't think that Murphy would have been going nuts? Get out of here. You don't think that dogs could smell that blood? Get out of here. The fuck? Get the fuck out of my chat. You hear me? You hear me? Fucking psycho bitch. You hear that? Say the fuck out of my chat. Go back and run to your Melissa Jade, Caldrone, bestie. Sick fuck. That's how you put a bitch on
also, let's take a look at the video that's surfacing right now is the body cam footage. The body cam footage
Learn about
that we can all see.
Fucking psycho stalkers.
2:55 a.m. Well, the call went in at 3:01 a.m.
See on the flip side.
Again,
baby.
the reported call, that means when you call in and you report something.
Yeah, I knew you liked that, Heather.
Reported call at, and then here you're going to see reported call at time reported. Right here, you're going to see it. Time reported, 3:01. Well, how are you arriving in on body cam at 2:54, 2:55 a.m. if it hasn't even been reported yet until 3:01? How are you there before?
Don't mess with the best. I just don't even try.
Listen, folks, I know there's a history here. I'd like to get this hearing in today. You know, everybody needs to just focus on the relevant facts, okay? I know there's a history here.
Maybe I should play my court hearing. How I waxed that ass up in that courtroom. Maybe I'll think about it.
Are you talking up by Sunset Mart? Up the hill by the gas station?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you...